The second part of this seminar is devoted to network security. It's complementary to information security. We have to perform both tasks, security the information and security the networks. Network security is a big issue because it's difficult to explain network security if you don't know some basic knowledge about how does the network works. Okay, so let me first explain just in one slide how does a network works. Okay, so when we talk about networks, usually we are thinking in the internet. So internet is based on a protocol, name it IP protocol, internet protocol, that offer us a service of datagram delivering. What is a datagram? A datagram is exactly the same that a post letter. Okay, so the datagram delivering service is the same that a mailing service. When you send a mail, you have to the destination of the mail from the source of the mail and the text you want to transmit. Okay, so it's the same in a datagram. The datagram has two from addresses and the text you want to transmit. The main difference is the datagram is virtual, is electronic, and the direction are IP direction. An IP direction consists of 4 bytes. Usually this is an IP direction, okay? And an IP direction has 2 parts. So the first one, identify what is your subnet. Where is the subnet where your computer is attached? Okay, so every system, every computer attached to the same subnet can send directly between them the datagrams. Okay, so it's like if I live in a flat and every neighbors very near me, I can send directly the datagram. If I have to send a datagram to another subnet, I have to send the datagram to the postman, that is the router, and the router will send to next router and to next router until we reach the final destination. Okay? So an IP address has the subnet ID and the system computer ID inside that subnet. Okay, so IP addresses are very complicated for a human to remember. So typically we use some text, that is names, name instead of IP address. So the internet defines a domain name service that translates the names in the IP direction. So every single computer attached to the internet has an IP direction. When we write, for example, I want to connect to Google. First of all, we make a request to the DNS server. What's the IP address of Google? And he responds with his IP address. After that, I can send a datagram to the Google because I know his address, and of course, I know my address. Okay? So that's how internet works. Computer has application. Application is our mailing, can be grouped in 2 categories. Clients that make connection requests to the server. Server are continually listen for incoming connection. Okay? So, well, after this networking basic, we can start to review how to protect that network. Okay, organization use public and private IP address. Public IP address is an IP address that can be used in the internet. Private IP address are not cannot be used in the internet, only in the local routers. So, okay, so a company, usually we have several subnet and a private router that is connected to the router of the rest of the world, of the rest of the subnet that belong to internet. Okay, so the first idea is any system, any computer that has a public IP address can be accessed by anyone, any computer all around the world, okay? A computer in North Korea, in China, can directly send information to me if I have an IP address. If you, for example, in last version of Windows, every system has more than 200 services inside your computer running. Some of them can be accessed through the network, through the internet. So, for example, you can think about the remote desktop service. If anyone from the internet can access to my computer and can access to my remote access service, my PC is out of control, okay? So, well, you can think, no, that's not going to happen to me because I have a password, a wonderful password, a 1234, for example, or the default password. Okay. Number 4 is hacker. This hacker has the full day to try, another try, to now, what's your password? He can help with password dictionary. It's very easy to, you can search in Google password hacking dictionary, millions of password, and you can be sure that probably one of the passwords you are using at this time is inside that dictionary. And he tried millions of times per hour with different passwords. So at the end of the day, you can be sure that he will connect with your remote desktop. Okay, so it's reasonable to protect our network from be accessed from the outside, So here is where firewalls appear. What is a classic, a traditional firewall? Traditional firewalls usually have inside the routers. So when a router receives a datagram, only look at the destination IP address and deliver that datagram to reach the destination IP address. So when this router acts as a firewall, additionally, before delivering the datagram, check for some rules, some filtering rules. So on that rule, we can say, for example, people that belong to this IP address, to this subnet, cannot, for example, connect with public service or cannot connect with workers. Workers can connect with public service, but cannot connect directly to the internet. Or from the internet, cannot connect directly to the workers. Okay, so it's reasonable. You can, the basic, the first line of protection is to use a firewall and some structure like a DMZ that this militaristic zone that usually consists of a company has public servers, web server, email server, and proxy server. The workers of that company can only access to those servers, and those servers can access to the internet. From the internet, only public servers can be accessed. Okay? So we protect the workers, the rest of the company from being accessed outside. So the question is, are we protected with that? Just with a firewall? Yes? No? A little bit. It's better to have a firewall that, no. Okay? Okay, so we install a firewall. We are happy because from the outside cannot access to my public IP address. So I can sleep well. But inside our company, we have a user number 2. And user 2 receives an email with a malicious link. Obviously, nobody receives an email. This is the malicious thing. Don't click. Okay, you receive an email sending, I'm a king, a Nigerian king. I have won the lottery. I have $1 million in a bank, but I have an enemy in the bank and will kill me. So please, I'm going to make you rich. You have just to send me 200 euros, for example, and click this link. So the user does click the link, the malicious link. He don't know, obviously. It's a malicious link. Said to his web proxy, go to this address. Web proxy, go to the hacker server. Hacker server send back the malware, and the malware goes to the user doc. User 2 now is infected. What happened? What failed? I have a firewall. Okay, you have a firewall, but you have user 2. So user 2 directly has downloaded the malware bypassing the firewalls. So firewalls has limitations. Okay. So we are not fully protected just with a firewall. We need something more. Okay, so we have to add some kind of intelligence inside that firewall. Okay, so let's think for one kind of intelligence is to make a list of forbidden IP address, of malicious IP address. That's called the blacklist. Blacklist. We can use blacklist or whitelist. So in there is a public blacklisting about servers of devoted to spam, to crypto mining, to command and control. So I can use blacklisting inside my firewalls. Okay. So on the previous case, if the hacker server IP address or the hacker IP address are inside my blacklist, the firewall will stop that communication. So it's a good option to add some kind of blacklisting inside the firewalls. Okay. Of course, the question here is, how can I get a good blacklisting? There is some option. First of all, is to pay for them. Of course, there are some companies that has very good, really good blacklisting. So the first of all, their option is to pay for them. You think that blacklisting has to be continuously updated, because every day exists new hacker server. So almost continuous daily has to update your blacklisting. So one option is to pay for them. The other is go for the community blacklisting. So are less updated, okay? But also works. There is also, for example, Virus Total is a web page that's online, allows you to check if an IP address or a name is malicious. So you can directly online, you can try to write in Google Virus Total, and then you can write an IP address, or you can write a name, www.google.to, and it will inform you if that name or that IP address is malicious. You can also to option to populate your blacklisting, to additional option. First of all, is a Honeypot. Honeypot is a device, it's a computer, very easy to be attacked. It has a software with lots of vulnerabilities. So hackers all around the world are searching for vulnerabilities. We'll easily find a vulnerability in the Honeypot, and we try to exploit. Honeypot, the only task is that he get the origin, the source IP address of the attack, and include it in the blacklist. So it's like, okay, I want to be attacked by you. And when it's attacked, okay, I got one IP address to forbid. Okay? So that's how Honeypot works. There is a lot of free honeypots. Another option can be used, for example, fail to ban. Fail to ban protects some service inside your computer. So, for example, you can apply fail to ban to your remote desktop service inside your computer. And when it detects 3 unsuccessful login attempts, it thinks that it's a hacker trying to test a password dictionary. So just after 3 trials, include the source IP address of the datagram inside your blacklisting. So avoid the password hacking cracking attacks. Okay. So you can use any one of those techniques to populate your blacklisting inside your routing. Okay. Are we protected? Not yet, not fully protected. One step ahead. You can imagine hacker or hacker server. There is a new hacker and a new hacker server. You can think that hacker servers are continuously having new IP address. Because, for example, hackers use the public web servers to take the control of that servers and use them as a hacker server. So they have a new IP address every day. So it's probably that those IP addresses are not here. So for example, let's go to the case that user 2 receive an email with an attached malware, not a link, just a malware, of course. The mail have not an attached malware like malware.x. No, malware is attached is something like my company salaries, X hours. So that mail comes from human resource. The text of the mail, please don't tell anybody. This is the salary of all your companions, okay, including your boss. My boss, also my boss, okay. You take a look to the attached file, my company salary. Yes, it's true, are the salary. You see the extension, oh, it's an Excel file. Even you can see the Excel icon, okay, the Excel logo. So you are absolutely confident that it's an Excel file. Double click, and you are infected again, okay? It's very easy. It's my company, .x, you will never see, okay? So what can we do to avoid this kind of threats that come also through the network? Well, solution could be to check the files I am receiving. Okay, but check a file, it's a complicated, a time-consuming and CPU-consuming task. So here in this kit, we use a very simplified method. That is, I don't know if you are familiar with hashes. Okay, a hash is a summarizing of a file. If you have a file, you can use a hash function to obtain a file resume, an identification, okay? So you can change the name, but the content will have the same hash. So we can include a hash file blacklisting. So every known malware, the hash of every known malware can be also included. So the router checks for malicious IP address, malicious name, and also malicious files. Okay? It works. It works. It really works. But only for known attacks. You have to previously know the malware has file, previously known the malware IP address. Okay? In a similar way, one step further, we can use another kind of devices named intrusion detection system or intrusion prevention system. Are very similar. They detect an attack by looking into the text, the content of a datagram, searching some pattern, for example, some text, some code. Okay, so he makes a deep packet inspection, look into the datagram, looking for attack patterns. The attack patterns is also a database named signatures. So we can use intrusion detection system or prevention. It's more or less the same. Prevention, when detect an attack, cut the communication. Detection, yes, when detect an attack, send an alarm. But basically, it's the same. There is a lot of commercial and also free community IDS, IPS software. For example, this IDS, IPS software are free, and it works reasonable. Of course, commercial will have more updated signature than online. To illustrate the work, we can think about a kind of IDS, IPS specific to protect the web service, a web application firewall. He examines the content of each web request. For example, if he detects get user bar password, it's like by a password. If get user password is inside his signature, he will detect this content and will cut the communication. Okay? So we add a new additional protection inside the firewall. We have the protection system, the firewall that check has file, check malicious IP address, check malicious name. Okay, that's the reality how that network protection works. But it's the same that previously I said. We have protected only with known attacks, but there is you have to take into consideration that bad guy, the hacker, already has all these mechanisms, and he makes some techniques to avoid to be detected. Okay, it's logical. For example, some techniques they comprise the malware, encrypt the malware file with different keys. So different keys generate different hashes. So the same malware file will have different hashes, millions of hashes. For example, malware encrypt his communication channels, command and control to give order, in order that deep packet inspection cannot detect the signature inside them. Okay, and whereas every day are new malware files are writing and be writing, hackers will have new servers to make the attacks. New vulnerabilities appear every day on legal software that can be exploited by the malware. So we need some additional protection mechanisms. Okay, so those protection mechanisms can be are compatible with previously explained. Those protection mechanisms are based on anomalies. So the rationale is if I am infected by malware, my computer will do some rare thing, something I have never shown. So if I am able to detect some anomalies, probably that anomaly are motivated because a system is infected. To illustrate that it's working, we can see the negation of service attack. As Lorena said previously, this kind of attack consists of make millions of requests to a server in just a few seconds. So for example, if we are collecting the number of TCP connection to our web server, usually we will see an unstable line or with a very smooth slope. Okay? If we have a DOS attack, we will observe something like this. All we see this graph and all we appreciate an anomaly. Okay? So that's the way in which a company works. We collect traffic information from every routers, every switch of a company, and sent to a network monitor system. And an operator and a cybersecurity operator, it's looking for some pattern like this for that, those kind of attacks. It's also looking for some pattern like scanning. An infected machine is trying to find another machine to infect inside his own subnetwork, scanning. Or looking for some command and control. A machine inside my network is today connecting to a server from North Korea. It has no sense for that machine. Probably it's a command and control. Okay? So this anomaly control, anomaly detection usually has been done by network cybersecurity operator, and actually is being performed by artificial intelligence. Okay? It's a very promising file in cybersecurity. So with network protection, every kind of network protection, we are not absolutely protected. Okay? So it's impossible to avoid the possibility of having an attack. But the more protection mechanism we have, the less probability of being attacked. Okay? Which door will you open first? Obviously, this door. The other is open. So it's the same for the attackers. So the more protection you have will go for another subnetwork, another victim that it's easy to get into. Okay? But you can reduce the probability of being attacked, including a lot of protection mechanisms like firewalls, with blacklisting, with inspection, with network monitoring system, with anomaly system. But we have a trade-off, because if we, for example, here, the most important thing, the cost, and here, the protection level, we'll find something like this. So the most protection you add, you will concede, first of all, we have a great protection level, but on this case, the trade-off is quite different. So you have to decide how many protection mechanisms do you have to use in your company. For that task, the solution is to perform a risk analysis. So in your company, you have to be aware of what is the asset of your company you want to protect, where are your threats, and of course, what is your budget, and design and proper protection mechanisms. Lorena have presented information security protection. Now we have shown the network security protection. What else can we do? There is lots of things we can do. That is not information protection and also network protection. For example, we can encrypt communication using encrypted protocol. Actually, the major of a great number of web servers mandatory use certificated and traffic encryption. So we use security. He uses a TLS protocol that encrypts the data. We can use endpoint security. Endpoint security mainly is based on anomalies detection. So an endpoint security is installed inside a desktop or a server, and it makes a profile of the desktop or of the user and process inside. How many interruptions per second, how many packets per second sent to the network, how many time between clicks. So construct an user profile. If this endpoint security detect anomaly behavior, roll back the personal computer to the time before those anomalies behavior were observed. One of the most powerful tools we can use is security policies. Security policies determines how the user should the user behavior, more or less. If you enter in a company, the security policies have to tell you if you can use the external USB drive, if you can use mobile inside your network, the password policy, what happened with a new person arrives to the company if an employer is fired. That's a very problematic situation. That's one of the main threats, actually, the insider, people inside the company that is fired. And in the hours between the fire, and he has a lot of information, password, and he can do a lot of works. So security policies inside the company, the policies of backup and restore, so there is lots of action. To organize all that action, we can use the NIST cybersecurity framework. NIST cybersecurity framework has approximately 200 cybersecurity actions that has to be done in order to protect your company. Okay? All that action can be grouped in 5 functional areas. Identify, devote to the asset of your company, the vulnerability you can find on that asset, perform a risk analysis to determine the protection you have to apply inside your company. Protection, information security protection, network protection, all the mechanisms you use to avoid the attacks. Then you have to detect attacks. This is another area where artificial intelligence is very useful. As Lorena said, a buzzer persistent threat attack can be active during years inside a company. So detect attacks is a critical task. Usually we use a mix of signature, blacklisting, anomalies. If we have an attack, and we know because we have detected, we have to respond. And after that, we have to recover the information we have lost. So inside these 5 functional areas, we have a lot of things to do. So use that. This kind of framework is very useful to protect your company. So I think it's lots of information in a short time. Let me finish with some final remarks. Cybersecurity threats are an important risk inside any company. Okay, they can affect to the asset of our company. We have to use protection properly according to a risk analysis. Okay, one of the main mechanisms we can use are protection and information security. We have already saw in this seminar. Another idea is we cannot eliminate the possibility, the probability of being attacked. Okay, you can reduce the probability, but never eliminate it. So a cybersecurity plan should include a recovery plan, and should use some framework like the NIST framework. The most critical thing, the most critical aspect for security is not our system, it's our users. So end user should have an appropriate awareness and training. Okay? And the last thing about that, hackers and threats are evolving continuously. So every day we have new malware, new threats. So cybersecurity is a process. It needs to be updated and reevaluated continuously. And that's all by my side. Okay? So thank you very much.